Hello and welcome to Wild Owl Back Garden Nature Diaries. I just thought today I'd give you a little bit of a tour of my back garden, which is the basis of my Facebook page, YouTube videos and other stuff that I do, just to educate about the wildlife that can live in a wild back garden. And in my garden I've developed it for wildlife, and now I'm reaping some of the rewards of that. So I'm going to give you a bit of a tour today and also introduce you to some of the residents. Okay then, so let's start off with a general plan of the garden. So we've got a decking area here, which is also my bird feeding station, and then as we pan around you can see that it actually isn't a particularly large garden. It's perhaps larger than your average estate garden on this housing estate in Yate, but it isn't exactly a farm. But I've probably got more wildlife living here than people that I know that have got 10 acres or more have got on their land. And it's all about how you manage what you've got, and about giving homes to wildlife, and of course sometimes feeding wildlife. Now, right by the back door I've got my badger bowls. Now, this is my badger feeding station, and I was filming a couple of badgers last night coming right up to my back door to feed. It's a dream come true for me. Really love having badgers. We've also got the bird feeding station here. Now, at the moment, because we're in the breeding season, I am feeding all the birds live mealworms. Now, live mealworms are available in all sorts of places: hardware stores, pet shops, online. I buy them online in bulk because they work out cheaper, but these worms are gold dust for wild birds and their young, because at this time of year when birds have got fledglings, they're not feeding them seed, they need to feed them live food. So this is, if you like, almost a caterpillar substitute. And as I'm sat here now, Mr. Robin Left is coming in, so I expect he'll come on then. On cue, here he comes. Come on then. So this is Robin Left, and he's not used to me having a camera. I'll just pull the camera back a little bit. Come on then. This Robin is so tame. Come on, darling. I know. Yes, all right. I don't usually have the camera, do I? Here we are then. Take off my hand then. He's thinking, what's your hand doing on the feeding station? Come on then. At the moment they've been feeding for about the last hour, so he's not as hungry as he usually would be, which is why he's just a little bit nervous. But as you can see, very, very tame. That's another joy in my life. Now, along the edge of my garden I've got this border, and this is a mixed hedge. Very, very important. Fencing has little or no value to wildlife. It might keep out cats if you've got fence high enough, which is a good thing. Of course you have to leave gaps underneath to let hedgehogs come and go, but then of course that allows cats to come in as well. So a mixed hedgerow is of massive value, because what it's giving is cover for birds, because fences don't give cover, but mixed hedging does. This is one of the things that adds a lot of bird life. Take out this hedgerow, put in that fence in, I trust you, I will lose about 75% of the birds that come in the garden. So this is a very important wildlife corridor, not only for them, but obviously for the small mammals and the bees that feed on the flowers in the hedge as well. The wildlife pond, well, very important. This used to have lots of large fish in it. Now there's no fish at all in here, but it is absolutely teeming with life: newts, frogs, toads, and lots of aquatic life as well. So that's really, really important. Now, we just mentioned this here. That was made worse by the badgers, because I let some peanuts drop down there and they started digging for them. Let's have a look at the shed, because what I've done on the shed is I've actually made a hole in the side of the shed, and that hole gives access to wood mice. Well, I know how mice behave, because they go everywhere and they just love to investigate holes. And what that does, that hole leads into an aquarium that I have inside the shed. This is the aquarium, under a black cloth just to keep it dark in the daytime, and then in here I've put some straw, and the mice very, very quickly made their home in here, and now they are, actually they're breeding in here at the moment. So this is one of about 5 or 6 wood mice nests in artificial nest sites, as well as the natural nests. They're certainly under the shed as well. So I do have a high population of wood mice, which is fine, except for the fact I have to make sure I keep the back door closed on an evening, because there's so many of them running around at times. It's crazy. But there's ways that you can encourage them to go to different places. Now what we have here is a converted box which I've made into a bumblebee house, and this is the first time I've had an artificial bumblebee nest in the garden. It's been active. You can see there, if I just move that up, bumblebee's just exited and he's just gone out into the garden to feed in the surrounding gardens. But what I've got in here is I put an old mouse's nest inside this box. There's a screen on the front of it, of course, to stop the bumblebees coming into the shed, but this mouse's nest was put in there, and then I caught up a queen bumblebee earlier in the year, popped her in there for just a couple of hours. Very important not to leave her in there too long because she needs to feed, but she had an opportunity to get familiar with it, and she stayed and came and went, and now she's in there and she's producing lots and lots of worker bees that are now coming and going every day through the hole on the outside of the shed, which is where are we? There. So that's the hole into the box. So I've created that situation, a little bit artificial but fantastic, because I can now enjoy seeing the bumblebees. There's a little bit of lawn area here with plants and a little bit of stuff that needs to be sorted. Let me take you on to what I call my butterfly garden. Now, at this time of the year, in early May, it's not very established. There's lots of things that are going to come up in here, including foxgloves and marjoram and verbena, stuff like that, which is really good for nectar feeding insects. But just under this pot is some holes, and those are the holes that a wood mouse made about a week ago, and the wood mouse is living in there now. So I've just put this on top just to give it a little bit of privacy and to protect it a bit from predators, just in case we have any problems. Got a herb garden here, which is my little project, but herbs, some of the herbs flower and really again are good for wildlife. You can see the whole time that I'm talking, the mealworms that I've put out on that table, even though it's about the 3rd sitting this morning, there are still birds that are coming and going. This great tit here, and this great tit is without doubt feeding young. You can see it's taken two mealworms, and it's actually gone over the top of the hedge and into the next garden. So that's taken the mealworms to its nest site. And what's so satisfying is to see so many birds taking the mealworms and then going in all sorts of different directions to their nest sites. And I'm basically feeding the whole neighbourhood in here. It's costing me a fortune, but it's worth every penny. Now, lots of you will know that I used to be a professional owl conservationist, and although I retired from public work doing that end of last year, of course I still have the legacy of my professional work, which includes 2 X-awareness birds, including this one here. Hello, mate. So this is my barn owl, Misty, and she's currently on eggs. She lays 3 clutches a year, which is surprising to a lot of people. They think, well, if they breed so well, why is it we don't have more barn owls? Well, it's because they die very well as well. So it's not so much about how many eggs they can lay, it's about how many can survive in an ever increasingly intensified farming environment and countryside environment. So this captive bird gets fed every day, so she's quite capable of laying up to 21 eggs a year, which is mad. So at the moment I'm letting her sit on these. They're not fertilised, so they're not going to hatch. We don't want any more captive barn owls. One's enough, but that's just a little insight into that. Although, as I say, she is an ex-aware.